Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 30, is this? 30? AgogeTV, beautiful. So on today's show we have, sorry, no, wrong way around. I'm your host, Phil Leonard.
I'm your host, Josh Gill.
Start off by introducing ourselves, that's usually helpful. On today's show we have McCoy Turner. McCoy was one of the legends on the level 1 staff that actually taught mine and Josh's level 1, and he's been the head coach of multiple gyms. His Instagram's a pretty cool place to go because he's travelled the world pretty extensively, and we're definitely going to want to find out a little bit more about that. But first thing, I just want to throw it over to McCoy to find out how he got into CrossFit and where it all began, basically.
Hey boys, good to see you. Thanks so much for having me on the show. First of all, I was stoked when you asked me to have a little speaking part with you boys, so thanks for that. CrossFit, when did I get into CrossFit? Well, I got into CrossFit about 2009. I was in the military and fed up with just doing like the standard back and buys, chest and tries. Always just bothered about putting on size, but then I don't know what switched in my mind around 2009, but I was just interested in finding harder and harder workouts. And somebody just through conversation mentioned, like, remember the 300 workout with Jim Jones workout, I think it was. Yeah. Somebody's like, "Oh, McCoy, you're fit. You should try this. Like, see how you get on." So I googled it, and it came up on YouTube. CrossFit Central does 300. So I saw like all these chicks. Like there used to be a lot of badass chicks at CrossFit Central doing this 300 workout, crushed it. And I was like, it starts with 25 pull-ups, finishes with 25 pull-ups. This is insane. So I went down to the gym in the military, gave it my best crack. And I just remember I was in a bucket afterwards, just hanging. Like, fuck, what the hell did happen? That was disgusting. And then I was hooked. Then I just went back onto YouTube. I was like, how do these girls do it in such a time? It took me more than double the time. Started looking through the videos. It was like CrossFit Central does next workout, CrossFit Central does this. And I just kept watching all the workouts, and that led me to the CrossFit website, and I started looking at their websites. And that was the start of the journey. I was hooked. I was like, man, I thought I was a fit dude, and now I just realized that there's a whole different product. Like there's levels to this. There's a whole new level of fitness that I'm not even aware of. So in my peer group, I was seen as pretty fit until I went and found the world of CrossFit. So that was 2009. That all began. That put me on to searching more videos. I remember I found a video of the games with McCoy, and he won it. And Annie Forrest-Dottir, that was when she first came on the scene. And she got like her first muscle up and stuff. I was like, fuck, I want to do this. And like playing around with CrossFit, doing some workouts, trying to learn some Olympic lifts and stuff. The next step for me was then 2010 CrossFit Games sectionals. So I was Googling, there were no CrossFit boxes around, nothing around my area when I was based out of Portsmouth. And the only thing that seemed close was 2009, 2010 CrossFit sectionals before the Open, and that was in RAF Mildenhall. I was like, man, I think I'm just going to enter just to meet other people, just to meet CrossFitters and find out if I'm doing this stuff correctly. Like, because I had no idea about programming, what you did. I was just had a list of workouts and I would just cherry pick one of them. But okay, I think I can do grace. That looks like it's achievable, 60 kilos, clean and jerks. And I would go in and take triple the time it's meant to. It'd be a deadlift, reverse curl, strict press like one, with big metal discs on the side, and just having fun and learning. Then I went to sectionals in 2010, and that was the beginning. That's when it's like wow, again got my eyes open to me. I remember WOD 1 was, they all got changed last minute. It was meant to be a competition inside an RAF Mildenhall, and the night of the event, the commander of the base, or whoever it was an RAF base, who would have been a commander, squadron leader or something like that, decided, nah, I'm not having a load of civilian CrossFitters come onto my military establishment and do some fitness competition. So we ended up doing it in outdoors on a basketball court in the middle of Mildenhall. Just a bunch of these CrossFitters, like the first evolution of CrossFitters. So there was loads of 5 fingers. I had head to toe skins on, no idea what I was doing. And the first workout was pull-ups, empty barbell thrusters and GHD sit-ups, and I'd never seen a GHD. I'd learned how to do kicking pull-ups by then, so I jumped on, and Dabs Dennis was next to me. And I remember looking at Dabs at the time, was like, who's this skinny guy? Who's this skinny guy? I'm going to crush this dude. And he was doing butterfly pull-ups even back then. I was like, holy shit, this guy's a freak. He finished it like a whole round ahead of me. The empty barbell thrusters. I remember I was going so fast, I hit myself in the head with it. Couldn't do a GHD sit-up. I don't know what I was doing there. Finished it, was sick. And I remember finishing that workout, and first time I'd actually physically been sick, and I was like, man, I think I know enough about CrossFit now. I'm good. I'm ready to go home. And after having 10 minutes rest, I decided, you know, I should probably just stay. There's only 2 more workouts, so just stay and hang out and find out. And somehow, I don't know how, I managed to qualify for regionals. And then I remember going back to my establishment, telling my best friend who was doing CrossFit with me, he's like, I qualified for regionals, but I'm not ready yet. I'm going to go next year. Thankfully, he said, dude, what if you never qualify again? I'm like, no, I will. I just need to get good at this, just to figure it out. It's like, and he's like, no, you should go. Like, definitely go this year and just meet more people, find out more about it. So I went to Sweden, to the Eliko Center, and did regionals. Same thing happened. First WOD, finished it, was sick. Like, I don't like this. This is not fun, but I want more of it. It's amazing. Like, what the hell's just happened to me? And I think I finished 28th at regionals, and just like, wow, this is amazing. And yeah, like, never looked back then. So 10 years later, I'm still doing it. 11 years later, still doing it. Still, you'd have thought I would have mastered it by now. I'm just always still finding weaknesses, finding holes, and just always finding places to improve, which is cool.
It's always the way. So just really quickly, so let me just to explain. So for people that might not know now, then obviously the process to get to the CrossFit Games has changed a lot over the years, hasn't it? What McCoy's referring to then was the original qualification series for the CrossFit Games. So there was no CrossFit Open. You went to a sanctioned local event, and then you went to a bigger regional event. And they I've seen some videos from back then, and it's so cool to see some of the faces that you see on there. Like you just like you see yourself, Dabs, and then there's teams from Train and stuff with a big Matt on there, and if you can find them on YouTube, on the CrossFit YouTube channel, it's definitely worth a watch.
They're hilarious. They're hilarious. I don't know why. I just thought lipo was the thing to do. I think skins were the thing at the time, so I was always wearing full-length skins underneath my shorts and t-shirt, thinking it was going to give me the advantage and still get my ass handed to me.
When I started CrossFit, that was still a thing. So I'm get to wear a base layer for every workout, or you was going to go slower for sure. But, so in those sort of early days of CrossFit, and I expect say early days in the UK, I would imagine. You say you were next to Davs, who we definitely need to get Davs on actually.
Well, I've messaged Davs and he's not got back to me, so I think McCoy should put in a word for us.
Yeah, let's. We've had Danny on, and in those early days of CrossFit, you must have had some awesome people to learn from, and sort of that community was probably very different to who it was now. Was there anyone in particular that sort of took you under the wing and showed you the ropes, or was it?
Not particularly, because I was quite isolated. I was down in Portsmouth, and at the time, Davs was in Cardiff, and I think he had some people there you could train with. Manchester was a bit of a hub, you had Carl Steadman and 3D. And the Northeast was getting big as well. You had Jordan Wallace up there. But I remember back in 2010, Jordan Wallace, I think he was 16, 17 years old, tiny little kid. And he came down, and he was awesome, but I never made it to regionals that year. And then just the years following that, he just turned into an absolute freak. So it took me a while to really learn CrossFit correctly, should I say, because I was isolated. I was one of the only people, I was the only person in the Navy doing it at the time. I don't know about the other services in the military, but there wasn't many of us doing it. So it wasn't like we had a core group. And basically what I was doing was finding a workout. People would come hang out with me in the military gym and go, what are we doing? I would try and teach them a clean and jerk in 5 minutes, or try and teach them a snatch. And I thought, okay, the workout says this, so I'm going to go RX, or I need to get stronger in the Olympic race, so I'm going to go RX plus and up the weight and things, and totally missed the stimulus of the workout. And just, I made a lot of mistakes in those early days because I didn't really have people to reach out to. And thankfully, I did have people like Carl, people like Dabs, who could give me ideas and steer me in the right direction, give me workouts to do, share some of how, like, their training techniques and tactics and things. But nobody really on a regular basis who helped train me and things. And the big eye opener for me was 2011. I went to Afghanistan. So 2010 game season, made it to regionals. I was hooked, like, this is amazing. And I just saw, like, I saw Mikko Salo training there. Sven Bornson, who I'd seen on YouTube, who'd gone to the games the year before. He was working out. He was in one of the first heats with me. I've got a good story about that. I'll tell you that after. And there was a guy there called Richard van Meerbeek from Holland, and the year before, the guy was saying he wasn't anything special, and that year he made it to the games, finished in 3rd place at regionals. So me, being competitive and in love with the sport, I was like, man, I'm gonna go to the games. That's my ambition. I'm gonna go to the games. I'm gonna train really hard. I'm hooked on this. Why not? It all got disrupted when I went to Afghanistan in 2011, midway through the Open. So the games season changed, the format changed. You had to go through the online qualifiers to the Open. And 2011, halfway through the Open, I went to Afghanistan. So I didn't finish all the watts in the Open. Trained, I thought, really hard in Afghanistan because there's nothing else to do. It's like I was rehabbing guys who were getting injured out there, working with a medical team, and then had my own rehab facility training all day, every day. Came back to the UK, and everybody turned into freaks. I was like, what is going on? Like the standard had just got so high. So many more people were doing it. So many more people were looking for good coaching, good people who knew how to do things. So no longer was it acceptable to just teach yourself some shoddy clean and jerk technique and think that was going to be good enough to get you by in competition. I remember when I went to sectionals, I learned double unders like 2-3 days before because they released the workout and said double unders for the next. I'm like, right, doing double unders every morning until I got them dialed in. And then all of a sudden now it was, no, this is like to progress anywhere, you need to be at a standard. You can't have these like major glaring holes and things. And just over the years to where we are now, it's like those weaknesses have just got smaller and smaller. And to any level now, it's even like local competitions, like those, if you still have weaknesses in your game, you're probably going to get them exposed.
There was always that like sort of turning point though in CrossFit, wasn't there, where it was at a point where to be decent at CrossFit, you have to be above average or relatively good at everything. Whereas I think now you've got to be insanely good at everything to be good at CrossFit, don't you? Just because sort of evolved.
Yeah, I think the evolution's been great. Like for me personally, I think I also think one of the best things about one of the best things that happened for CrossFit is that evolution of the standard of competitors got so high. Because when I started, everybody thought they were going to the games. Like I wasn't the only one who had aspirations going to the games. And then, like, I'm sure it still happens now on occasion. People will see the Netflix documentary, come to a CrossFit gym and go, I want to go and do that. Yeah. And I used to say to people, like, I watch Wimbledon every year, but I don't think I'm going to go and play at Wimbledon next year with a tennis racket train. And this is how good those athletes are. And it took a few years before people actually went and saw these athletes to realize, oh, these guys are like elite. And now there's no disputing, like they're the fittest athletes in the world without a shadow of a doubt. And it took from when it kind of came onto the scene in the UK and it became a competitive. I think it started like most people just wanted to be competitive, and it was all about what competition's coming out next. I want to win. Like there was the Manchester Games, I can't remember what it was called, but I did that in 2010 at CrossFit Central Manchester and things like that. It's like, okay, this is the next competition. And then over the following years, more and more content started popping up, but the standard kept getting higher and higher. And then the competition, I call it, there is, if you're a serious competitor, back then there was only one competition, it was the CrossFit Games. Yeah. So it didn't matter if you won any of the other local competitions. It only mattered when it came down to the Open, came down to regionals. People, a lot of local competitions would pop up, and people would think that they were good, high-standard athletes in their little community, and there were good, high-level athletes, but there's just levels to this stuff, and they the CrossFit regionals athletes to make it to regionals then just got insanely difficult, and then to make it to the games, you're cream of the crop, and you're 99.9% of people will never make it to the games, and that's. For me, it's a cool thing, because now I'm I'm not doing this for competition anymore. I'm doing it because I love it. It's awesome. And I want to stay at the nursing home for as long as I can. I want to build as much fitness as I can under my umbrella.
I just think it's pretty cool as well. And it wasn't a ridiculous aspiration to go to the games in 2009 for anyone. Do you know what I mean? I think people listening come into CrossFit now, yeah, games, what? Nah, that's well beyond me. That, because of the level that the people are at. But back in 2009, I think they did a workout. It might have been 2008, 2009, and 30 double unders was a lot.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh my God, they're making us do 30 double unders in a workout," and now we're like, "All right, okay, unless you can do 150 in a minute, you're not competitive." Do you know what I mean? So
it's just evolved so much. I remember that workout you're talking about was sectional workout number 2, and it was something like 9-6-3 clean and jerks at 60 kilos, 30 double unders, 10 toes to bar. So it was 3 rounds of your 30 double unders, your 10 toes to bar, and it was just it was crippling people. People were looking at the toes to the pull-up bar, going, "Oh my God, I haven't got one more toes to bar in me. I've ripped my hands to shreds." Clipping my feet like crazy on the double unders. People couldn't lift the weight; it was way too heavy for them. And now that's just it's a warm-up workout sort of thing, It's people wouldn't take these. I think there was probably a 20-minute time cap on it back then, and now you're talking sub 5 for that.
Definitely. So just to move on from sort of competing, which obviously I love talking about competing. We could definitely talk about that all day. I want to know how you went from obviously there to getting into your coaching, and then going from coaching to being on level 1 staff, and it's quite a cool journey, to be fair. So I'd just like to know a bit more about it.
So where do I begin? So obviously I found CrossFit, fell in love with it, like many of us do, and I'm like, this is amazing. And I was, at the time, I was in the Royal Navy as a physical trainer, and I specialised in exercise rehabilitation. And I didn't have any aspirations at that time to leave the military to pursue a CrossFit career. There wasn't many people that were making a career from CrossFit back then. There were a few box owners I knew, like Dabs and Carl Steadmans, that were at the forefront of that. So I was just happy doing CrossFit, doing my own thing, thinking about competition. And I got back from Afghanistan, and a couple of my friends then went and did the level 1 Masters away. And I was a little bit jealous. I can't believe they've done the level 1. And I was like, what was it like? They told me it was good. And I just thought that the level 1 was for people that wanted to go and open a gym. So I was like, I don't want to go and do my CrossFit level 1, so I don't want to open a gym. But thankfully, they told me it was really good, really informative, really educational. And one came up at the Army's PT school, and it was discounted price because they discounted the military personnel. So that was my first step into, okay, I'm going to go and do this course. Still didn't really have any aspirations to coach. I just wanted to go and to learn the knowledge. And then when I went there and found out, actually it was Danny Watson's first seminar as a member of the team. Carl Steadman was the floor master.
The one where he slipped off the rings, was it?
Say again?
This isn't the one where he slipped off the rings, because the rings.
Oh yeah, the rings were slippy. He said, "Yeah, you never looked that down."
You told
yeah,
me about
For anybody
yeah.
who don't know that, funny, go back and listen to Danny's podcast.
And I love it. Like, oh my God, like, all the stuff you're telling me are all the questions I've been getting from other military people saying, why do you do this? Why do you do it that way? And I was convinced CrossFit was the way to train, but I didn't have an intelligent answer to give to the high rank in the military of why it was better than what we were currently doing. And it just answered all my questions. And it made me look at the way I've been training as well and realize I've been doing this, I've been applying this program all wrong, and I need to change the way I'm putting this together. So I maybe train a lot more smarter rather than harder. And I was like, I just loved it. Oh, that's so cool. And immediately when I finished, like, when's the next coach's prep, which is now the CrossFit Level 2. Like, I'm signing up. I want to learn more. This is amazing. Fast forward another 6 months, I went through the coach's prep, and I'm sitting in the coach's prep. And for those that don't know, that's when like you run a small group of people and you coach them, and you get feedback on how you coach. And I was working in the military as a physical trainer, so I've looked at exercise. I've been a physical trainer for a decade by then, and specialised in exercise rehabilitation as well, so biomechanics and looking at kinesiology, the way people move and stuff. I had a pretty keen eye, or so I thought. And then I went there, and again, I got lots of great feedback. It was really educational. Halfway through day one, Dave Castro walks in and sits in the back of the group. And we got up at the CrossFit Stockport, and Dave Castro's sitting there. And I'm like, oh my God, texting my buddy, going, dude, you won't believe this, Dave Castro's here. Because it was around the time of the Invitational, so he's there to watch the Invitational and organise that and stuff. And anyway, day one, I'm really nervous. I finished day one, and I go back and I've got all my feedback, and I just thought, I'm really, like, my feedback's valid, but I'm not happy with the feedback I got, because I coached how I never really coached. I just froze, I was nervous, and I was like, this feedback's not relevant for me to go and implement, because that's not what I usually do. So I was like, tomorrow I'm just going to pretend I'm back in my normal gym as they told me to, and just do what I normally do. And day two, I got my opportunity to coach again, and this time my group was right next to where Dave Castro was sat. So I get up and I try to do my thing, and I went boom, 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 and I was pretty happy with how it went. I wasn't totally stoked, but I was like, nah, I think I gave a pretty decent account of myself. I got my feedback from Dave Lipson and Nolan Mooney, and then Dave Castro comes and walks over and he goes, hey, McCoy. And I'm like, ah, shit, yeah. And he's like, good job, like, you did a really good job. And he gave me a couple of pointers. He's like, you could have done this, and you should have done that probably a little bit sooner. I was stoked. Like, oh, wow, cool, thanks. And he knew my name, he spoke to me. Wow, that's amazing. A little bit starstruck. And afterwards, we had, like, after day two, we had a little bit of just a hangout for 5-10 minutes. And I got chatting with him, and because somebody told him I was in the military, and obviously he's ex-military and stuff, so we had a little bit of rapport around that. And then a day or two later, I checked my emails, and I had an email from him just saying, hey, McCoy, I really liked what you did on level 2. How would you fancy interning for the seminar stuff? And I was jumping over to it, like, holy shit, that's amazing, like, deco, I'm in. And it's funny because once I did my level 1, that was when my mindset changed, and I was like, do you know what, I've been thinking it would be amazing to have a gym, but I just don't know how to, like, the military is a really secure job, so it wasn't something that I was ready to take the leap into, try and open a gym and try and, because I had a young family at the time and stuff, and I was like, I'm not ready to take that leap. And I would see Carl Steadman post every week, and he's got his feet in the airport, he's like off to somewhere to teach.
I remember those posts.
And I saw him doing his stuff on the level 1, and I was like, man, I reckon that's my dream job. Just every weekend you get to go somewhere to teach people that want to learn CrossFit. And I was like, that's my dream job. And then, yeah, after level 1, after that, I was like, I'm doing the level 2. This is really what I love. I love the message, and it's really good. And so I did my level 2, got the invitation to intern. And then Dabs Dennis helped me hugely through the internship, and yeah, I made it onto the team. I think that was probably around either 2013 or 2014. I can't remember exactly. But I remember when I got the nod, I was over the moon. Wow, it's amazing.
Such a cool, like, It's made me feel so nostalgic about like CrossFit though, like just just so some of the names thrown out there, and again like um I I've been around CrossFit not as long as you, but like obviously talk about Dave Lipson and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh wow, cool. Like, and some people on here will just be like, who, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
and
yeah. When I started on level 2 and I saw Dave Lipson, I was still, oh my god, that's Dave Lipson. I saw him at the games last year. So I was already frothing when I saw him, and when Dave Castro came in, I was like nearly fainted. I was like, wow, I can't believe this. Yeah, it was good experience.
Amazing, I love it. So obviously, like I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how you got into being a level one. That's pretty like, and to be honest, I think that's pretty cool. And like, I've heard some good ones from different people and some different stories, and I think that's my favourite so far, to be honest with you. Because just how it come about, Dave Castro coming over and saying, "Do you fancy giving this a crack?" I think that's it. I think that's every coach's CrossFit Level 1 coach's wet dream right there. That's pretty special.
Couldn't believe it. Like the internship was super hard, like really hard. But like I said, Dab's helped me out a lot, giving me some hints and tips on how to implement the feedback I was getting along the way and stuff. And yeah, it was no walk in the park. Once you get that invitation, it's still a lot of work to do.
Sure. Now, we spoke to Danny before, and I've heard, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I've heard lots of level 1s level 1 staff members be interviewed and stuff. And they always say they could write a book with some of the funny stories that were told. So have you got any like? And again, I know there might be some that you might not be able to tell, but have you got any any particular stories that like that's how we know about Danny Watson slipping off the rings, because that was his story. So if there's any
on the spot, there's so many stories, but I can't think off the top of my head. Ones that I can share as well. I don't know. Let me come back to you on that. There's got to be some for sure.
Cool. Well, if you can just, when we start recording later on, you can tell us the stories that can't. Cool. So and again, like
I've got one actually. Yeah, I have got one.
Go ahead.
I'll give you one. This is a clean one as well. They're all clean to this intern 3. So on my coach's prep, Steve Haydock was the flow master, and I was trying to like build a rapport with him, and he tells me, and I was like, I couldn't build a rapport, and I was like, what's wrong with this guy? What have I done to upset him? He tells me now, well, it wasn't nothing to do with you, because Dave Castro was there, the boss is there, so I was just making sure that I had all my ducks in a row and just was nervous and stuff. So anyway, I did intern 1, intern 2, and then intern 3, I get Steve Haydock as my flow master. In fact, intern 2 was my flow master, and I got on great. And then intern 3, I had him again, and we were like quite friendly and had a bit of a laugh and stuff, laughing a joke. And James Hobart, another legend, I'll just name drop somebody else. James Hobart had flown over as well. The gig was in Wales, so James Hobart was hanging out with Matt Evans. It was at his box, CrossFit Velocity, his box at the time. And I could only imagine they were sitting around the dinner table just thinking, oh, what can we do to mess with the intern? So James Hobart, Matt Evans, Steve Haydock all got into town early, and they're like, hey, intern. And I was working as a chief petty officer in the military at the time, in the Navy at the time, so I was like running a unit, like running a gym myself, and these guys were bullying me like a little school kid. They're like, hey, intern, you better turn up with Lycra, night vision goggles, stimulants, coffee, food. And I was like, okay, I had this list, long as my arm, like, and it was just like nonsense things. So luckily, Lycra was a problem because I had a collection of skins in the wardrobe that I never wore anymore by then. Managed to get a head coach from the store. I came up with a 24-hour ration pack, coffee. I had some pizza, which was all like zoned in because I was on the zone diet. And I put all this down at the meeting. And Steve Haydock, like nobody gave me any sort of like any recognition for what I've done. I like traveled up there in the car, up to Wales, with all this stuff, put it on the table, and they're all like, okay, intern, go and set up the stuff. And then apparently when I left, they're all like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But at the time, they were like, stone faced, didn't give me anything. And just made me suffer all weekend. Just made me like, just like a little apprentice running around doing all sorts, bullying me. And yeah, it was a fun time. Fun time. It's good. Good joke.
Like it.
Didn't always get it.
Oh, right.
Our old apprentice, we sent him to Tool Station to get some spirit level bubbles, and like, and he was looking through the catalogue and couldn't find them, and it was only because his missus is with him at the time. He was going to walk up and ask the guy for some, and she was like, "No, they're having you on." Like, why did you stop him? But it's just good team morale building, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Get a long stand. Over there and ask for long stands and stuff like that. Yeah.
Glass hammers and all the rest of it. We've all been there. So amazing. Now you're like, say, I know I'm sort of like skipping through like just what I know of you from meeting you on level 1 and following you on Instagram and stuff since. But you then went from being level 1 to being level 1 seminar staff to coaching. Head coach in Bali and in London, so it's like a bit quick jump from being a level 1. How did that come about that you ended up being first of all in was it Fortitude Bali, the first one?
So I was at CrossFit 10. We got CrossFit 10s first,
right, okay.
And then CrossFit Petit Tangi, but the gym is actually called Fortitude, so it's a CrossFit gym within a gym. So yeah, I've been on staff for a few years, and obviously it was my passion to leave and pursue CrossFit as a career. By this stage, I realised that it was a career and it wasn't going anywhere. And like everybody in the military kept saying, "Oh, it's just a fad; it's going to die off." And like, yeah, sure, whatever. And yeah, I wanted to follow that. And about 2016, I did a seminar in Qatar, in Doha, and my friend owns a box out there, ex-military guy who I actually introduced to CrossFit, a guy called Pete Collins, and he owns CrossFit Oryx out there. And I was doing a seminar at his, and we were hanging out and stuff, and he offered me a job. He was like, "Dude, come on out here, there's lots of work to, like, for you and your skills." And I remember I sat down with him and I said, "Buddy, I'm not interested in doing this for the money, and I just want to be near a beach, chill out, maybe surf a wee bit and teach CrossFit. Like, that's all I want to do." And he laughed and he joked and he went, "Oh, I just went to Bali on my honeymoon. You should go and check out Bali." So I did. I finished that seminar, went back, ended up booking flights to come on holiday to Bali, and fell in love with the place. That was in 2016. There was a gym here at the time that were looking for a coach as well. So I came back, did a little bit of coaching, had an extended holiday to coach with them for a while. And that was it. I was ready to leave the military. Went back to the UK. And I was speaking with another gym in London at the time. And I asked Phil Morton, the owner of CrossFit Thames, what it's like living in London, working in London. Because I was interested. And I'd asked him a couple of times. I'd done seminars there. They used to host a lot. And when I got back to the UK from this trip, and I thought I was going to then come and immigrate, move to Bali, I just got a message from him. He was like, "Hey, are you still looking for work in London? Because a position's come available, and we're looking for somebody." And just the timing all fit in perfectly. Do you know what? It's meant to happen. It's meant to happen. So that was my transition from the military into Reebok CrossFit Thames, and I worked there and loved it. Had a great time. The members were awesome. Just coaching full time, being the head coach, doing coach development. It was a dream come true. This is so good. Working seminars at weekends, and in London as well. There's a lot of seminars, so I wouldn't be traveling every weekend, and sometimes just have a home gig at my box. And it was really easy to travel out from as well. So that was really good. It was fantastic. But I still had something pulling me to Bali. I'm still drawn to Bali. And again, just by chance, timing worked out great. So I spoke to Phil and told him I had this urge to come and move up to Bali, Indonesia. And he was like, "Cool, when do you reckon?" I said, "I've still got this long on my flat I'm renting at the moment in London, but when that's up, I'm probably going to look to try and move then." And that was about 4 months, probably about 4 months before that my tenancy agreement was up. ready for renewal. And then literally the next day, I got an email or a message on Facebook from a friend of mine who owns a box in Finland. Just said, "Hey McCoy, have you seen this? Have you known I've been to Bali?" And it was Fortitude, posted for a job that Fortitude needed a head coach.
Okay.
So long story short, sent my application off, liaised with them, and they were like, "Yeah, well, we need a head coach in 4 months, would you believe it or not?" So it just linked perfectly. So 4 months later, I moved over and worked there, and helped them open the box and grow a wee bit, and had a fantastic time with Fortitude. But the CrossFit team in Asia at the time was quite small, so I had a lot of demand for me to travel around Asia, and Asia's a lot bigger. There's a lot more travel than there was involved in Europe and I was in the UK. So when I was doing seminars in London, I would leave on a Friday night, I'd get back on a Sunday night, very rarely I'd come back on a Monday morning, but it wouldn't really affect my time in the box. When I was at Fortitude, however, I was leaving on sometimes a Wednesday evening, or a Thursday morning, and I wouldn't get back till a Monday night. So my full days in Bali were only going to be a Tuesday or Wednesday. And it just wasn't, then being a new gym opening and me being the head coach, it just didn't really work. And being a CrossFit seminar starts my dream job, so it was like, one of them's got to give. I don't want to turn down seminars, I love doing it. So we kind of had to part ways, and we parted ways, and doing seminars most weekends, and then the opportunity came up to open up my own small box, and it's just a home gym, which I do some. The aspiration was always to try and do something non-profit, because it sucks, I think, that people get priced out of being able to do CrossFit. It's an amazing tool that changes people's lives, saves people's lives, and it's certainly saved my life on many occasions. And I want to share that. I'm sure you guys have got a similar story where you've changed your lives dramatically, and that's why you went ahead and opened a gym to change other people's lives. So I've opened this small garage gym, downstairs bedroom type gym, so that I can get some locals in, train them free of charge, basically just introduce them to CrossFit. And it's a bit of a long-term aspiration. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I want to train them up so they can go and open their own CrossFit gym, do their level 1 seminar, and it'd be awesome to have a local gym for local people. We've got 5, soon to be 6 CrossFit gyms here in Bali, and they make their money from tourism, and it's a fantastic business model, but it's you're getting, every day you've got different faces in the class, and you don't see them progress, you don't see them get better, and all the locals are the ones that clean up the sweat and the mess up. So it's like, let's get a gym for the locals, get them to be able to do it. And the difficulty is equipment's more expensive over here because it's got to be imported, so equipment's up to 35% more expensive. Land, they want big, 10 years up front for the land, for the space, in most places. So the startup costs are expensive over here, but once it's up and running, those guys will be able to crush it. So that's a long-term goal. But at the moment, what I'm doing is just training with friends. Do 1 class a day. We've got 4, 6, 8 of us in the morning, 7 a.m. People want some PT stuff. I do that. I work with a couple of surfers. I've got a professional big wave surfer who comes in when he's in town, and I do some work with him and stuff. And yeah, it's just generally living the dream, doing seminars and doing some stuff in my small gym here. So it's cool. It's good.
I love it.
Really good. So when you like I said, you live in Bali now, full time. Yeah. And obviously, I don't know how to word this best. So it's a very different culture to training people in London and in the UK. Is there any particular coaching changes that you've had to make, or any tack changes that you have to use that mean that you obviously, I don't know, because obviously you have to communicate differently with everybody, and I can imagine training a businessman in London would be different to coaching somebody in Bali, just in the way you have to communicate with them.
Yeah.
What's there kind of thing?
Yeah, it's huge. I say this all the time, especially when I'm teaching the CrossFit Level 2s. We get into coaching because we love exercise, we love assessing movement. And then like when you have a community of people, or you're just dealing with people in general, you're face to face with customers, clients, athletes, your role is like largely part of being a social worker as well. You've got to understand what sort of praise they like, what sort of criticism they like. Do they like tough love? Do they like a pat on the back? And then learning that, like, it's huge. So even in London, within the box, you're going to get all these different dynamics. When you move here, the biggest thing I've noticed difference-wise is just the mentality to train in the boxes, because it's geared towards tourists. People are on holiday, so they oftentimes don't want to come in and do a workout with clean and jerks and spend 30 minutes working on clean and jerk technique, working on the progressions to build up to a solid clean and jerk and stuff. They just want to come in, pick up a weight, get a sweat on, get out, probably hungover, or doing this before they earn the beer that they're going to drink later and stuff, like holiday mentality, you know. Not everybody, but it just makes it like a lot different. Like your classes become, the general theme is that people's classes here become full of pieces and parts, lots of mini workouts within that hour session, so that people will leave satisfied that they're tired, they've had a workout, rather than spending time on quality coaching. And I see coaches get burnt out and exhausted as well, because they've got the aspiration that they want, or the desire to give that quality coaching all the time, but when you're only going to see that person once and then you don't see them again ever, I see that people like get burnt out from that, because it's just a revolving door. Like, you'll be literally looking at the whiteboard, you know what the workout is, you're looking at the clock, you've got 5 minutes for class and nobody's there, and you're thinking, does anybody turn up? Sometimes nobody does, other times 20 people turn up like that, and you're like, oh, and you just got to react and respond. So it presents different challenges in that regard, for sure. Whereas when you've got your own community, you know that your 7 a.m. class is going to be your busiest one, and your 6 p.m., 7 p.m., or whatever it may be, are going to be your busiest ones. The lunchtime class is going to be smaller, so everybody will have a row at each. If it's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., probably won't. You know what I mean? So that's the sort of challenges you get. But as with regards to individual, like personality-wise, I think every culture and every language has the same personality differences and traits within them. Just the differences when you move to, like when I'm working with the locals here, just the language barrier. They're a lot happier and a lot less stressed. They've got less of it. For some reason, they're a lot less stressed. We've got everything that we could ever want, and we create drama within our lives. These guys are like the happiest people in the world, and literally they live very basic, simple lives. And like, that's really amazing to see. You just have to be a lot visual when you're coaching them, and a bit more tactile to get them in the right positions. But yeah, it's CrossFit's a universal language. Everybody, like, it's accessible to everybody.
Like that, CrossFit's a universal language. With regards to coaching, have you had any like big sort of, like, me and Josh always talk about the fact that in the 4 years since we've opened the gym, we've learned so much, and there's been some like big aha moments of, all right, okay, that's this has made me a better coach. Have you had any sort of moments like that that really stick out to you?
I guess there's been loads. There's been a lot, because I think just the nature of CrossFit, even if you're an athlete as well, we should be striving to find weaknesses. So when I first started and I wanted to be a competitor, I would hate a weakness, because I'm like, oh man, I can't believe double unders have come up, that sucked. But then, like, as the more I did CrossFit, I was like, yes, I'm so glad double unders have come up today, because I'm suck at them. I want to work on them. And when you take that same approach to your coaching, I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger curve, or something like that. You know, when you learn, you know a little bit, you think you're an expert, and then the more you know, you start to realize, actually, I don't know anything, and then you are an expert and still think you're unsure. You know, it's like that. Yeah. And like, coaching's the same. It's like, the longer you do this stuff, the more you realize that there's just so much more to go. And like, I guess that's like been a big aha for me. Is like, you never, when you think you know everything, you should probably go back and start again. Like Coach Glassman says, when you feel like you've mastered the basics, go back and start again. This time, pay closer attention. That's been a key thing for me with my coaching, is just, I've done so many seminars now that I know the material inside out, and I have my own way of delivering certain parts of the seminar. I will often do it the same way. And somebody said to me, like, you don't need to add that story to make it more impactful. When you can take away the bullshit battles brains. When you take back the bullshit and just take it back to its core message, or the core skeleton, that's when you've mastered, like when you're better at it. And I've seen that often in coaches, especially with the social media, Instagram era that we live in now. People will get excited with fancy exercises, fancy things, like, oh, this guy can balance on his hand, like one hand doing the splits upside down on his fingertips, so he must be an amazing coach. And I'm like, no doubt that's an amazing feat of physical strength and balance, coordination, accuracy, and agility, but it doesn't mean he's a good coach. And we see like people do things on social media and think they're amazing people, and they get thousands of followers and stuff. But once you strip back all the bullshit and you go, what do they actually know, and what are they actually coaching? That's like a huge aha for me. When people don't have that need to just fill an hour with lots of fancy stuff, or try and bamboozle their clients, their athletes, with fancy terminology and stuff, and instead can be like, no, I can go there if I need to, but let's just bring it back to this, like back to basics. That's been key for me. I think there's definitely been a period of time, and I'm sure we all go through it at some point, where we're like, oh, I need to prove my worth here. I'm gonna show off a wee bit with this bit of knowledge I've got, and like that insecurity of I'm gonna make myself look big. And then when you get past that ego, you're like, oh, actually, no, I should probably know more. And the other things, like working more and more level 2 seminars, you get people that are coaches from other backgrounds as well, and understanding and realizing you don't need to butt heads with people if they have differences of opinions, or they see things differently. It's, okay, what can I learn from this situation? So this guy comes from a traditional strength and conditioning background, or he does a weightlifting, he specializes in weightlifting, and he thinks that a movement should be done a different way. Give them a chance to try and educate you and share some of their knowledge with you, because we're always learning. When we're done learning, we're done.
100%, love it. Right, so I'm going to leave it there, because I think that's a really good sort of like point to end the main bit of the podcast on with, because it's a really nice take-home message for people. Like I say, when we're done learning, we're done. And that's like you say, if everybody has that attitude, I think we talk about is like white belt mentality and stuff like that. Always be the white belt, always be, and don't be scared of being shit. That's probably sort of similar sort of things that we say to our clients a lot. So I've got a couple of fun questions to finish. I'm aware that we're running way over with time and stuff, but it's just been really cool to hear all the different stories. I've actually got more questions for you, but I don't want to keep you too long.
Part 2, I have a plan. I'll do part 2 sometime.
So first one is always a good one, is a book or film recommendation. This is purely for me and Josh to add more books to our collection and more films to watch. So, any particular recommendations?
Best book I've ever read, a book called Legacy, by the All Blacks.
Yeah, great.
I read it pretty much, didn't put it down cover to cover. Yeah, best book I've ever read without a shadow of a doubt.
Hang on.
We got them, haven't you?
That one.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Great book. Especially if you're looking at building a team. Amazing book. Okay. Next one. If you could have go at any sport, like, so if you're going to be a professional sports person in any sport other than CrossFit, what would it be?
I grew up and I wanted to be a soccer player. I wanted to play football. I say soccer now because everybody down here thinks football's like rugby league or rules. But I'm just watching that Michael Jordan thing on Netflix in the minute, The Last Dance. So I'd probably be a basketball player. That looks pretty cool.
You know what? That documentary is taking over at the minute. I've been telling everybody to watch it on like every podcast. So, definitely, I watched I think I watched the latest one last night, and I just couldn't stop watching it. I was like,
That's good, man.
like
That's
midnight.
good.
I was like, I just need to finish this episode. Okay, amazing. Now this is the one that tends to trip people up, but it's one of our favourite questions. So, if you could sit down with like any one person and just get as much knowledge as possible from them in like a 24-hour period, who would it be?
Whoa.
Uh,
Whoa, you could have given me a heads up on this one.
that-
Some obvious people would be like Coach Glassman, Dave Castro, Nicole, Ben Bergeron.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to try and get away from the CrossFit sort of realm and maybe somebody like the Dalai Lama or
Wow. Okay.
somebody a bit more. Do you know who? Maybe Russell Brand. I'd love to spend 24 hours with him and just get inside his thing because he's like funny, articulate, and he's got a, I think he's got a cool way of viewing the world, you know. So maybe somebody like that.
Yeah, that's a good one because he's got a really good way of communicating it to people as well, hasn't he? He can like you say, he's so articulate. He can actually like he could educate you at the same time. Whereas like one of the things we were talking about is like if we was to sort of sit down with Einstein, like I probably wouldn't know what he's on about.
No, you'd be way over the top, eh?
I wouldn't learn anything because he's way too intelligent for me. So I'd have to start lower and then work my way up to Einstein. No, that's awesome. So, McCoy, like I said, we've got to wrap it up. But where can people find you if they want to give you a follow? Is it Instagram, Facebook? What's the best way to?
My Instagram, I don't use Facebook anymore, so don't bother with that. My Instagram is just McCoy_Turner. And I've also got CrossFit Conscious as an Instagram, but I've literally posted nothing on there. I was going to, and I'm like, it's just a home gym for me to work out with my girlfriend and some buddies, so I haven't done anything with that. So yeah, McCoy_Turner is the best place to get hold of me.
Amazing, that's awesome. Thank you very much for being on today, McCoy. I've really enjoyed it. I'm gonna go and watch old CrossFit YouTube videos now. But no, yeah. Watch Austin Malialo in his skins and things like that. Everyone, thank you very much. No, I really appreciate your time. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I think you should definitely check out Danny's podcast. Very similar sort of subject matter, and he's also got some cool stories just like McCoy. Thank you everyone very much for watching or listening today. Please give us a like and a share on Facebook, Instagram. Give us a 5-star review if possible, and the subscribe button if you're on YouTube should be down here somewhere if Josh has done his job. If not, it's not there. Just hit subscribe anyway, and click the little bell so you get a notification every time we put up a new podcast or a new video. Again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and peace.